Shalom. This is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. This is a Republic Notice. The title of this Republic Notice is Breaking Response. Answer to American President reveals plans for replacing current governmental system. Answer to American President reveals plans for replacing current government system. Now, this guy named Timothy Turner calls himself planning to replace something, okay? This is one of those who have found out recently that he cannot whore with the bankers no more. And see, you're going to have a lot of them who find out they cannot whore with the bankers no more. So either they're going to look into the real constitutional republic and try to imitate it and try to act like they some kind of real concern of the system of God's sovereignty, because they can't benefit from trampling blacks no more. That's in the real republic. And the fact that he's calling himself the American president and, is the fact that he thinks he could just take the word American as if it's not constitutionalized and non-consented. See, he's going around, his name is Timothy Turner, and he's with a group who calling themselves a republic of 41 states that was supposed to be formed with the military. So he is misguiding people, talking about he's American president of the Republic of the United States and all this stuff. And you're going to find a lot of white Esau and immigrants coming up with this because they know their Gentile time is closing. They're going to try to fight the Bible. They're going to try to fight the cosmic. They're going to try to fight revolution of the Gentile time coming to a close. So now all of a sudden they want to revisit, because they done found out that they were sheep whores of the bankers. See, they thought they was glorified whores of the bankers as long as they could feel as though they was privileged above everybody else. They didn't care what kind of government it was, what kind of democracy it was, whether it was legitimate, whether it was fake, whether it was hijacked. All they knew is as long as they kept their white privilege and their white senates and their white governors, which the governors and senates are mostly white and foreign, or corporate and foreign. They had to have a corporate and a foreign senator. See, they're going to act like they blind, they super blind as bats. See, they was all blind as bats without any eyes. See, they pretended they didn't see blacks was in the constitutional republic. So now they think that they can just bring their little greasy dung fingers and their abomination, after they done abominated contract with this system, as long as the banksters made them think they was privileged whores with their stolen homes, their stolen cars, their stolen jobs, their stolen pensions, their stolen everything. They was quite all right with any kind of government, as long as they can grease and wax the fat. Now that the fat waxing is coming to an end, they want to look into 1871 and talk about, oh, it wasn't done with consent. The U.S. corporation wasn't formed with consent. See, they was fine. They was calling that the government as if they felt this U.S. corporation in their heart, as long as they had their suburban homes and all their stolen government jobs and pensions and all these union jobs and pensions on somebody else's soil and birthrights not contracted with them, because the constitutional republic owns the mule, and the mule don't have one amendment. Yeah, it makes acts. It makes acts for the asses. And here are the asses. The asses are those who thought they can put a middle finger up to the republic as long as the Democratic majority herd progressivism benefited them. And so they pretended to be deaf, dumb, and blind and act like they didn't know what a republic was. Now all of a sudden, the banksters done threw them away and letting them know that they cheap whores that never had nothing. Now they want to look into the U.S. corporation founding and try to say that it wasn't founding on a legitimate basis. Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, as a constitutional republic, citizen sealed in Fort Knox, meaning the constitutional republic is non-consented. Its likeness, its word American, its amendments, its sovereignty, it's God's sovereignty. You cannot create another one with 40 states or 41 states because all state land is non-consented. The Union won the war at Fort Knox and preserved their blood by putting non-consenters, meaning 3/5 blacks who couldn't consent. They made them the citizens of the Constitution with a small c, to let you know whatever capital letters you put on driver's license and birth certificates and all that stuff, the black Americans is not your stock. They the God sovereign persons and citizens and national, constantly, contractually, Fort Knox by God Almighty's hand. And none of you can do away with it, and none of you can recreate it, and you just need to face the fact that you consented 100 years as long as it benefited you for white supremacy, and you didn't care nothing about law, constitutionality, or the republic. You was trampling whores and cows, running to voting booths for your all-white majorities, and tried to act dumb like you didn't know we was under a constitutional republic when you took it in school and said, I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America, for to the republic. You knew it was a republic, and you knew it was based on minority rights, but you didn't give a damn. What you want was white rights. Now your white rights is coming to a close. Now you want to question the U.S. corporation because you can't get your little trinkets no more for your whoredom. Well, check this out. The U.S. corporation formed in 1871 did not need your consent, okay? It did not need your consent. It had the legislators that it needed, because let me tell you something. By 1870, the constitutional 1 through 15th Amendment was sealed with non-consent jurisdiction. So the real Supreme Contract was sealed with non-consent jurisdiction by 1870. So no consent was needed. We was under non-consent jurisdiction government. See, dummies, you don't know this one fact, that in 1865, the whole Constitution changed from consent jurisdiction to non-consent jurisdiction. And therefore, the U.S. corporation was founded on non-consent jurisdiction, meaning it didn't need your consent. And because it was founded on non-consent jurisdiction, the black Americans who are the non-consenters were prior 5 years had non-consent jurisdiction 5 years prior to the U.S. corporation, which means it belongs to non-consenters. Okay, so you may get a birth certificate, and they might say you worth $6.9 million, but that's of debt. That's of debt. You are born in corporate doctrine debtors. You have no constitutionality. And if you're talking about 1871, 200 million of you wasn't even here in 1871. Most of you are immigrants who came in the squad thinking you're going to dream on top of blood, slavery, and massacres. So you came in here with evil intentions, and you getting the abomination of dung that you came and consented for. And consented for 100 years. And another demarcation point was when Kennedy head was blown off. You knew that the government was hijacked then, and you went back to your white bastards and continued to consent. So you cannot cry ignorance, you cannot cry you didn't know, because guess what? It is a God sovereign and it's a free government. And you had a free choice to come here, and you have a free choice to go right back where the hell you came from, no matter how many generations you've been here. If your forefathers came here voluntarily, they had a free right to come here voluntarily, and they had a free right to consent to be an in-corporate doctrine, birth certificate owned by somebody. They came here. See, they wanted to come on top of slavery. See, they didn't know they was consenting to their own slavery, but you come on top of slavery looking for a dream, and what you get is what you consented to: infringement on human rights. You wanted to benefit from infringement. You wanted to benefit from infringement, so it was quite all right with you to be human capital, right? Except you not in the supreme contract. Black Americans are the supreme contract, and they are the sealed human capital investors, and the Constitution is non-consented supremely. From 1 to 15, no one cannot touch. No one. God protected his namesake. His namesake, his hidden ones, right under your nose, because you couldn't see behind your pale skin. And you still can't see behind your pale skin. You think you're going to come back after playing musical chairs and all the dung and consenting to all the evil in the world and saying my trinkets is not up to par, so I got to see and look into and try to go back to the legitimate government. No, your dung hands are just debtors. You're just debtors. You're just dung contractual debtors. If you're born with 6.9 million on your birth certificate, somebody, that means you're born from a bondwoman and you're debtors, and you don't have no constitutional republic backing. That land is knock, stock, and barrel, Fort Knox to non-consenters in the supremacy, because blacks couldn't consent to go in the Constitution, yet they're the only Constitution and national citizens. You didn't want to believe the slaughterhouse cases because you wanted strong delusion. You wanted strong delusion to serve Satan for your materialism and your fake privilege. Now you come and try to act like you didn't know. And now you're trying to act like, oh, the 1871 needed your consent. No, they didn't need your consent, because most of you came here voluntarily, and this stuff was set up before you even came here. You're nothing but generation bondwoman of whores, of banksters and gangsters and satanic forces. And all this was set up before you came here, and the U.S. corporation was formed by non-consent, because non-consent was already in a constitution as the jurisdiction. So it didn't need consent. Consent jurisdiction had already been abolished, because it had to be abolished to abolish slavery. Now you get real and get out of your Gentile fantasy, because you're the unholy. You're the unholy, and you're the abominators, and you consented to every evil in the world. You are the more corrupt than any elite you're talking about, because you gave the elite power, because you so damn corrupt. You so damn tyrannistic and corrupt, and that's how the elite got power over you, because you are of that kind. You serve your father Satan. So you go ahead with your fantasies of a republic. The only republic you got is your delusional head of strong delusion. You're moving into more debt and theft abominations as we speak. And you will go into bondage, because you will pay for every evil you consented to in the world, while you tried to act like you didn't know that blacks was in the Constitution and that was the minority that was supposed to be respected. This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.